One Team, One Podcast back, episode 131, chilly Baton Rouge day. But lots to talk about. We just got out of the Florida week, big win on the road in Gainesville. We were just calling it off the pod. We were just calling it "Fuck Tom Petty Day." Yeah, fuck you, Tom Petty. Yeah, rest in peace. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to go into obviously Ole Miss week, huge game now, and I don't know if we even realized like, okay, beating Florida on the road, the way we looked too, and like if it was going to set up this kind of game like at home now with Ole Miss. But we'll talk about all that. We're going to talk a little Mount Rushmore of LSU, Mount LSU. That was a hot one today. I stirred the pot big time on that one. And then maybe some old Ole Miss games. We'll talk about that. But first, got to have a big shout out to Fred's Bar, Tigerland. They're going to have a huge weekend. And actually, it starts tomorrow. You may tell me, Jack, if you remember that. But I think they have like they're going to have a meet and greet on Friday. Are you trying to look at me over the? Yeah. I know Megan will be there. They're gonna have a few people in town. They're also gonna have. They're also opening the Barstool Sportsbook at L'Auberge. Big Cat actually flies in. I think later at night. I don't know who all is going to be at Fred's tomorrow night, but I think it'll be popping. But then Saturday morning, will be off the roof. Like I know I talked to Nay, they're doing drink specials from 8 till 11. And then they're gonna have the Barstool college football show at 12:30. And he said that'll probably be like 45 minutes to an hour. So after it's done, everybody can kind of start doing the migration to the stadium after that. But will be huge. I'm sure I already know. I mean, I watch the show all the time, but of course, Brandon Walker, Casey Smith, Big Cat, and Dave. Fucking Dave is going to fly into Fred's, which is unbelievable. He's been posting about it all week. And I'm sure Mincy will be there, Megan Making Money, all the regulars, Big Ev. I think Hank's going to be in town. Like, stuff like that. Like, fucking Hank is going to be there. So if you follow Barstool, you know who we're talking about. But big shout out to those guys. Go check it out. It's going to be a wild scene before the game. Urge everybody to go out there. We'll be out there doing some interviews. So if you see us, say hello. Okay, so also big shout out to Bank of England Mortgage, one of our main sponsors. They're our audio sponsor for all of our podcasts. We appreciate Patrick and Bank of England. 225-810-1805. Go to their website, boesouthernstates.com. You can apply for a refi, mortgage, or if you just want to ask some questions, you can actually use their comment page. You can do all that stuff online. We appreciate Bank of England Mortgage and River Cities Total Maintenance. Lucas Ragusa at River Cities Total Maintenance. I talked to him yesterday, actually. We were talking about the Ole Miss game and how it shakes out. River Cities Total Maintenance, they handle, obviously, AC work. If you know the River Cities Baton Rouge name, but they're in New Orleans in the North Shore area. But they'll do AC repair, heater repair. You're going to need to check that out right now, especially with the temperatures going down. But they can also handle plumbing, electrical, stuff like that as well. So give them a call, 504-841-3300, NOLA-AC.com. Okay, so let's get right into it. Florida. I don't think I've talked. I love doing these now. We used to do these like reaction shows, and we kind of stopped doing it. Life just happens now. But I like to know, like, okay, so it's Wednesday. I haven't even talked to you about the game, or like we haven't even really debriefed about it. Mm-hmm. Fire off your thoughts of the Florida game.
Yeah, I enjoy the Sunday shows because it's like I get to say all my knee jerk stuff.
Yeah, but now you have time to think about it.
I've told people, well, yeah, that too, but I've also just like I've told people at the office my knee jerk reaction stuff so much that I'm like sick of hearing myself say it at this point. But I mean, you score a touchdown on the first 6 times you have the ball. That's pretty cool. I like that. Defense was better than the scoreboard indicates, I think. Mm-hmm. You had they scored on 4 possessions really, and then we gifted them another with the muff punt, which we can get to later. It's just if the offense can play like that, then we're gonna beat most teams. We should win all except for that November 5th game.
Yeah.
And even that's on the board if we're playing on this well on offense. So,
especially on defense too.
Yeah.
If the defense steps up and plays hard.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's what
the defense got stops whenever it needed to. It was like even when they got it to 7 points late in the game, which shouldn't have happened, but whatever. Even at that point, I was like, okay, but they're not going to stop us because when we needed a score, we got a score. When we needed a stop, we got to stop. It felt very safe. I felt very safe the whole game because I knew Jaden Daniels could pretty much do whatever he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think anybody that's an LSU fan, when it was 7-0 Florida, you kind of shit your pants a little bit, and you're like, oh fuck, here we go.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I honestly, 14-7, I was still like, ugh, fuck, this is not good. But when we got to 14-14, I felt a little bit more comfortable because I was like, okay, we can move the ball, we can score points. That's like a game changer for us.
The last time I freaked out was I'll be honest, I freaked out for the muff punt too. So I freaked out 3 times.
Okay.
Then after that, we were all good.
What was the score during the month when the muff happened?
You remember? It was 14-all.
Oh, okay. There you go. So
got it to 21-14.
I didn't even freak out for the Anthony Richardson long run.
I didn't like it, but
I didn't like it either. But I didn't go, oh fuck, we're screwed. Well,
because at that point, Florida hadn't had a single stop during that run. That was before. I think Florida got their first stop right after that run.
Yeah, we didn't punt the ball at all in the first half.
No.
It was like late third quarter that we finally punted.
All right. Speaking of not punting in the first half, and this has nothing to do with the punter, but Keyshawn Butte, they came out today with a video of first of all, he was like a practice guy this week, and they awarded him for that. Then talking about how he's stepping up as a leader, and then he's like doing the halftime speech at the team, and he's telling them, "Hey, just keep going. This is what we're talking about." Like fucking A. Like talk about like last week what we were talking about with Eli Ricks, and I was using Keyshawn Butte a lot with that, but like that is like the definition of culture change right there. Like
that's character.
Exactly, but it's also like I think about the program. Like, do these guys fucking do that shit in the last 2 years? I mean, if not, we never videoed it. Like, I don't think I don't remember ever seeing the halftime speeches like that at all from our media team.
There's been a lot. I feel like a lot more social media content from the the Twitter
inside
it's because of that LSU Gold stuff. Yeah,
LSU Gold. Yeah, LSU Gold's big.
It's because they're selling it.
Yeah, they're trying to get some money out of us.
Kind of like what Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are doing in Wrexham, where they're just like, all right, we're gonna have a camera follow you fucking everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Great show, by the way.
That is awesome.
It's a really good that's the show I like when I go home for lunch and only have like 30 minutes. I watch a Wrexham, Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu. Good, great
that's
plug.
Good.
They're not sponsoring us, but
no.
Okay, so also Jaden Daniels. I know you talked about it a little bit, but like fucking A, like
historic performance.
This unbelievable.
Yeah, he could do whatever he wanted.
And do you feel, and that this is kind of how I feel, I think if you have any semblance of a running game like they had, it opens everything up. And I think they're just a completely different team if they can run the ball.
Yeah.
We've been saying that since Auburn, though, right? We had the running game going in Auburn, and that's that won us the game, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't have a lot of the passing just because our guys weren't getting open. There was a lot of hands going around. But it made all of the difference this week because we had the passing game going. Our guys were getting open. Keyshawn was making guys miss. So it's like Mike Denbrock is slowly cooling his seat down, right? It's like a lot of, we were talking about it last week, right? We were talking about this is not is Mike Denbrock the guy offensively for us now?
Okay. I even heard there was a guy that came in that I work at the TV station. There was a guy that walked in the TV station, a former LSU football player. I won't say his name, but apparently they were doing an interview, and I think one of the first question was, "Hey, what'd you notice? What was the big difference?" And he said, "You noticed that play sheet in coach's hand, right?" So Brian Kelly had a play sheet in his hand.
Mhm.
Things changed a little bit,
Well,
Yeah,
they asked him
I
about
asked
it,
Kelly about it.
they
Yeah,
asked him.
and what did he say?
it
He
was
said,
situational.
he said, "I call all the great." He said,
I call the great plays.
"Yeah." Then Mike calls the good plays. I call the great plays. I think is what he said.
I like that.
But I think all he said that is, yeah, it's situational, like Charlie
Yeah,
said.
like
yeah,
fourth quarter, we're up by 1, it's 4th and 1, go for it, right? That kind of
right.
stuff. What's our go for it play?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was I thought that was very telling. You got a little feedback, Jackie. I don't know if you know that, or somebody does. I don't know who has it, but it's coming back on me. Anyway, maybe it's not on the
I
recording.
hear it too.
But,
So I I noticed that difference of like a little bit of a it sounds good. I think a little bit of a difference of just the explosiveness of it. I don't know. I don't know if but
Yeah,
again, I don't know how much to contribute to that or how much to contribute to like, okay, you've opened up the run and then all of a sudden the pass is going to be open. He's able to scramble. There was a few times where Jaden Daniels scrambled and he could have handed it off and they could have scored either way.
yeah,
So there was a few of those that was like, oh shit, like I maybe I'm not used to seeing a Florida defense this bad either. I don't know. I think there's couple of
yeah.
things there.
a lot of people are saying that the Florida defense is just bad, but I don't know if it's as much that because
I think it's as bad as Auburn, and we saw what happened against Auburn.
and Auburn's defense isn't bad. I mean,
Auburn.
these are
The
still
difference
fine.
is
Like
Auburn was a much better run defense than a pass defense, whereas Florida is a much better pass defense than a run defense, right?
okay, but Florida gave up, I think, offensively only 19 points to Kentucky.
Yeah,
Yeah. At the same place we just played them. They gave up 26 to Utah, who has a real good offense. They scored 43 against USC on Saturday. They gave up only, I mean, they didn't play well against Missouri, but they only gave up 14 points to them. Their defense is good. It's
Yeah.
good defense. It's not bad, and we still scored 45 points, and probably could have picked our score.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that. It was a very exciting game to watch.
I agree.
I thought it could have been worse than what it was. Like we only won by 10, and we probably should have won by 20.
We were
At least.
fourth quarter.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing that. Obviously, I think there was at one point we were both. I think you had tweeted something, Jack, about like, great, now we can move the ball on offense, and now our defense can't stop anybody. That was kind of the thought in the first half.
That was the first quarter when I was just like, beside myself. Didn't have a good read on the game so far.
Right.
No
We
idea.
got one of our best man cover corners playing nickel safety. So it's like, well, what's going on the
They're
back end
changing up
with injuries?
too much stuff on the back end, I think, and
Too much, you said?
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's no. I think the communication's bad
I agree.
because everyone's moving around so much. Everyone has a new position every week.
Yeah, I
No,
think the
I don't know if
communication is rough at the beginning of the game.
plays anymore. Where's Joe Fauci playing? I don't even know.
I
Moves every week.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same with Greg Brooks.
it reminds me a little bit of the Saints too, where it maybe not so much because I think we get a good pass rush. The Saints don't get a good pass rush. It leaves their defensive backfield exposed, and it's almost like, okay, if you are getting a good pass rush and we still have problems in the back end, then that's really bad miscommunication. It's not like these guys are just on islands or whatever. Like I agree. I think that was one of the things that we had talked about before the season was like, okay, communication should be probably pretty good, right? Like we have a whole bunch of seniors. I know they hadn't been together or whatever, but like they're all experienced people, right? So I don't know. I think that was surprising for me as well. And it looked like they were playing really well, like Mississippi State and all that. I mean, we had all that. We had a great game plan with them, and to see it not work against Florida or like to look this bad against Florida, that's surprising. I don't know.
And
I
the big part is just the fucking tackling. Like we
Yeah,
talked about the long quarterback run. I mean, that was what
that was
4,
bad
6 missed tackles. Just
for sure.
nobody's trying to wrap up. I mean, everybody's trying to strip the ball. I don't even know what Jay Ward. I don't know what the hell he did on that play. He looked like he was just lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
He
tackling's just
he's just
What?
such a flip of a coin with his play, though. It's been wild because it's like one game, especially Mississippi State, right? He's tackling everybody. It's like he's freaking like it's like he's like a lasso rope. Oh, hi, Ellie.
Oh, hey, Ellie's in
And
there.
he's making plays left and right, and then he just moves out for Florida and Auburn. I think it was just like he's trying to hit stick everybody like he's in Madden and he's pissed off and losing, and
Yeah.
he's just trying to nail somebody to make it fun, and he's missing all the
Is part of
time.
his problem though that he's just moving around too much. His position changes every week.
Possibly. I mean, I'm sure that's not.
Did they
It
ask
can't help, right?
Yeah,
I feel like they are. Um, I don't know. I feel like they just need to.
Well, so all right, and maybe switching gears a little bit. Florida had. It feels like Florida should have had more of a run heavy offense, but I don't know. I don't think Florida's offense was very good at all. If you're watching, you can see Ellie giving Charlie a really hard time.
If you're listening,
Um,
you may be wondering what that
yeah,
means.
you won't know what's happening right now if you're listening, but Ellie is giving Charlie the business. I mean, just totally giving him the business. So anyway, there. Hey, Ellie. She's over here now. Okay, so um, moving on to the Ole Miss game,
Rooms?
huh?
Are y'all in separate rooms?
yeah.
Yes.
I thought they all were right next to each other.
Nope.
Like the last 7 weeks.
I'm in the sunroom.
Okay.
I now call it the podcast room.
Okay.
And then he's in the studio.
In
Yeah.
the studio.
So
I realized that.
anyway, so going over to the Ole Miss game. The difference to me with Ole Miss is that they are so run heavy.
Yeah.
And they spread it out. They're so run heavy. I don't know if I mean I know this. We haven't played a team like this. Like we played a passing spread a couple of times. But we haven't played anything like this where they can just run it, and spread you out and run it. And I fucking love this offense. Love it.
That's really good.
They are, and they can you imagine if they had a passing attack to go along with it? I mean, they just Dart just is not as good of a player, obviously, as Matt Corral. But like, I just feel like they could have something better, but they're so dominant on the run.
I don't think Jack and Dart is bad.
I don't either.
And
I don't
think
either.
receivers are
I
bad,
think
which is
I
what
think
scares me the most about this game. Is if we do stop the run, which we're gonna have to stop the run, we're gonna have to sell out to stop the run. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And then that's gonna leave our corners in one-on-one situations, and I guess we'll see how they do. Because last time that happened was against Tennessee, and they torched us. Obviously, Ole Miss doesn't have the passing attack that Tennessee does, but
I was about to say, it's like, how many dynamic receivers do you see them having? I was like, I maybe one, right?
I like Mingo. And then it's a Lane Kiffin offense, so he knows how to get guys open.
He just knows how to game plan, and that's what I'm worried about. Is like
that's what scares me.
Picking you apart somewhere to where like what was that line about it was a couple years ago where actually was it last year? It might have been last year after the Ole Miss game where apparently Lane Kiffin calls Ed Ogeron and says, "Hey Ed, you guys run the same fucking defense every play." Like how fucking embarrassing is that, right? Like, I mean, if you're gonna do that and you're gonna have some like miscommunication in the backfield, you don't think he sees that already on film? Like, this guy's just a master game plan guy. So that's what I'm worried about more than anything.
Totally. I was actually watching like a preview earlier. It was it might have been Josh Pate. I don't know. I watched like 5 different ones. But it just hit me that like what this offense reminds me of is like 2006, 2007 Arkansas.
Oh, I like that with McFadden and
2 just absolute lightning running backs, and then like a decent passing game to complement it.
All right, so let me tell you this. I've watched a couple of Ole Miss games this year, and I was scared to death when they got Zach Evans. So Zach Evans out of high school, number 1 running back in the country, complete fucking head case. Everybody just bailed on him because he had quit his own high school team. It was just ridiculous.
But a freak.
Freak. Absolute freak. Number 1 running back in the country. He was Under Armour All-American, even though he quit his high school team. It was just crazy.
He quit his high school team, and I still wanted him to come to LSU.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's hideous.
Look, Ed Ogeron was like, I don't know about your character. That should tell you something right there. So he goes to TCU. Lights it up one year, goes to Ole Miss, and I'm like, oh, fuck, this league is fucked.
Yeah.
Like, Lane Kiffin's got Zach Evans. Well, let me tell you, he got a new running back named Judkins that I didn't even know who he was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
It was already supposed to be unfair.
He might be the best running back in the fucking league.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I'm like, who is this kid? Where did he come from? Charlie, you may know. I don't even know. I'm assuming he's a 4-star at least. Like, holy crap. Like, this is unbelievable.
Let me look it up. But let me just say, Lane Kiffin knows how to protect this quarterback's problems.
He's from
the first couple games, a lot of people talked about he had a lot of problems. And it
Dart, you're talking about, right? Yeah.
Dart, yeah. Lane saw it, but protecting it. Say he couldn't hit the 5 and out, right? The long, or was it? What's the longest throw back and throw the 5 and out to the field, right?
Yeah,
couldn't hit it, so not gonna throw it anymore. It's not a part of the route tree, right? It's like he's protecting this guy on another level with play calling.
Well, and he still does. He still runs the ball. So Jackson Dart did not run the ball much at USC just because it's just not what their offense was. But now he's able to run the ball a little bit more, and all they're doing is just giving you one more thing to think about. And I saw him even against Auburn. Like, I mean, Auburn's not a great defense, but he was popping, 15, 20-yard runs, things like that against Auburn. So, say again?
You know who it reminds me of?
Who? Joe Burrow.
Casey Dick.
Oh, Casey Dick with Arkansas. Oh my God, fucking A.
It's the same offense, just like the 2022 version.
It's like the spread of it.
Yeah.
Whereas they were basically running a fucking wing T,
right?
At the time.
I don't know who Hillis is, but
yeah,
that's true. There's no Peyton Hillis. Holy shit! You just gave me nightmares of that game.
Yeah. Think about it every day.
So, yeah, I agree with you. Like, you try to stop that run. They're going to try to pop something on you. I think I'm also worried about like some kind of trick play. I just think that I think of Lane Kiffin as like he's going to produce and he's going to get points over his fucking dead body. Mm-hmm. He's going to score points on you, and that's what I'm worried about with this game. Is okay. Can we fucking start early? Can we start quick? Like, I understand you wanted to take the ball and it bounces off somebody's fucking helmet or whatever. Like, can we start fast? And meaning, like, can you get a stop and score? Like, I think maybe Brian Kelly's learned his lesson of like not taking the ball first. I don't know if that was his call last week or not, if he deferred or whatever, but like, fucking defer. I want the ball in the second half, but at the same time, I want to start fast.
Yeah. I mean, I liked the mentality of taking the ball first against Tennessee because it was just like you wanted to make a statement score and all that. But now that like we have these special teams issues, it would just be really nice to have the ball first second half.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do y'all want to talk about the special teams issues? I don't even know if I have the energy for it.
I don't know. But yeah, we can.
I'm not interested in talking about Polian because like there's all these people that are saying I don't know if it's his fault. He can't make the guy catch the ball, which is true. But like when it happens over and over again, like his job's got to be in question, even if we go the rest of the year without a single issue.
Yes. I think Polian is probably either gone or we'll have to take another staff position and you bring in a real special teams coach. I think he's a great recruiter, and I think he probably has some other program related things that he's really good at, and this just isn't it. He's not a good on field special teams coach, but I don't think he's going to want to take a demotion. I mean, he's fucking Brian Polian. He's Bill Polian's son. I mean, I don't think this is a guy who's thinking that he's going to not be a higher level coach at some point in the future. I just don't know where he fits right now, and I don't know how. Here's what I was crazy. It was crazy. Like when we start obviously during the game, you're just like, fucking, what are we doing? Like we got to fire this guy, right? Like it's just terrible. And a lot of people were like, oh well, this wasn't on him. There's a Brian Polian apologists out there that are like, how can you blame that? I mean, he just bounced off his helmet or whatever. Like, how many fucking things do you need to see?
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
I mean, you don't think I think Malik Neighbors is a good receiver and can catch the ball? Absolutely. You don't think Jack Best can catch the ball? Absolutely, he can. Can you block an extra point? Yeah, you can. But why are these things keep happening every week? Like, I mean, there's a common denominator.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, a lot of the drop stuff, it's like I can defend some of it. Like Malik Neighbors, I liked picking him as the punt returner, and then I even liked sticking with him after he muffed the first one. Just to not absolutely destroy the kid confidence-wise, but then after he drops the second one, you obviously have to snip it. I liked picking Jack Besh as the punt returner because I thought he'd be a very sure-handed guy.
I agree. But
and again, I like not just cutting him loose after he drops one, but then after you drop a second one, you
give
got
him exactly. And
so in that muffs, I don't blame Polian, but it's like it's the obviously the Florida State game. That's on him entirely.
I mean, this is 3 muff punts and one, or did Clayton have one?
3 muff punts, 1 muff kickoff.
Yes, but did Clayton have anything that I remember?
He just did stupid shit by like bringing it out like 5 yards deep into the end zone because he's trying to prove he should be on the team. Quinshon Judkins, by the way, 3-star.
3-star running back that looks like fucking better than Tank Bigsby at this point.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. True freshman.
Yeah, he's
also, that second muff punt, Jack Besh, concussion. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He got nailed on that. You need a fair catch it.
But it hits him first, and it bounces off of him, and then he gets hit, and then he's saying he got a concussion after that.
Oh, did you not see Brian Kelly talking to him after that?
Yes, I did.
He was sitting there like he couldn't look Brian Kelly in the face. He's looking at the lights.
I get it.
Got hit in the head.
Oh, because he dropped to his knees to try to get it back, and a dude just launched right into him.
But
I was mad as well. I was upset as well.
I mean, that was weird. Yeah, he must have had a concussion. That makes so much sense now.
And we're the biggest fucking Jack Besh fans there are. We're the Jack Besh Stan podcast.
Right.
Like, so if Jack Besh is muffing punts and kickoffs, like, I don't think it's him. Like, I'm sorry. I just think that at this point we can roll out Odell Beckham, and I think he's going to fucking muff a punt for us at this point because he's not coached right. I don't have any other. I don't know how you can make excuses for this guy at this point. Like, this is just a not well coached special teams.
And kind of adding on to that, I don't know how much y'all have paid attention to our punt team, but Jay Bramblett is nailing the fucking ball and out kicking his coverage 90% of the time.
And that actually, Brian Kelly mentioned that in a press. I don't know if it was this one or the week before, but it was like, it was a Tennessee game where he had a huge punt. Guy fields it and he outkicked our coverage. A good return. He was like, "What's better for me? Is it a 60-yard punt with a really good return? We outkicked our coverage, or is it a 40-yard punt with great hang time and things like that?" Like, so there's things that they're working through, and I think Brian, absolutely, it's coaching. Like, I think it's Brian Kelly is now like uber focused on a couple of things. He's uber focused on offensive play calling. We can't get stalled. And he's also probably really focused on special teams at this point. But like, I don't know what the answers are on special teams. I think we saw some answers on offense, but I haven't seen shit on special teams yet.
We know a guy who never outkicked his coverage.
Oh yeah, old Jackie boy.
Zach von Rosenberg.
I wonder if that's because he couldn't kick his coverage.
Well, I think the thing with Zach is Zach had a lot of hang time on his balls, man. Zach
Oh.
kicked that thing and it went fucking high.
Zach's balls were smooth, long, round.
Settle down.
Like a baby's bottom. Like a baby's bottom.
Older,
but okay, so we were talking about Ole Miss. Ole Miss coming into Death Valley, 2:30 CBS game. I wish it was night, but whatever. Next game, most likely, is Alabama at night on ESPN, which is like this is fantastic. I mean, Tennessee, Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia being the CBS game.
Oh,
Tennessee, Georgia's that fucking week.
Tennessee, Georgia's 1000% CBS game.
Yes, it's like no doubt. It's the biggest game.
Does CBS not have a 6 o'clock? I'm so confused.
No, they already used their one prime time. Their one prime time was the A&M Alabama game.
Exactly. Preseason, so they picked the Saban Jimbo feud.
Yes,
because they had to pick a preseason.
But they didn't know Tennessee was going to be as good as they are now, or whatever. But
I thought they always got a 6 o'clock game. My bad.
They do.
I don't know why.
They just have to pick.
No, one time a year it's a 7 o'clock game, and they do a double header, and it's this year they picked the Alabama Texas A&M game to use that double header.
It does suck for them that they have to pick that like preseason, because it's just like if Texas A&M sucks, like all right, well I guess we're just fucked now.
Right. But I mean, the weird thing was okay. Then you had Georgia Auburn as your 2:30. It was just fucking ridiculous. Like you could have had LSU Tennessee, but honestly, which game was better? Who knows? At this point. But all right, so 2:30 Ole Miss. We were before the podcast. We were talking about some other Ole Miss games that we can kind of remember back in the day. And I'm older, so honestly, Ole Miss wasn't as good when I was
tell
young.
us about the 1959 game.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you. I was at the 50, and I don't know why I'm talking like this, but Billy Cannon ran it down their throat. Whatever. Why am I an old Irishman now? I think some of the ones that I remember are like Ali Broussard set a record at the time, like a rushing record against Ole Miss. Obviously, the Eli Manning falling on his ass game, that was such a big game just because we hadn't been like that good. And Ole Miss wasn't that good for a long time. And then they had Eli Manning. That was a huge game. I saw Patrick Michelson from Bank of England. He had mentioned it on Twitter about how he went to the game, and that was one of the most anxiety-filled games that he had ever witnessed ever. And I can imagine, I could see that, and I could see like maybe LSU Alabama in 2011 as being like one of those games. But I could see that if you were at the Ole Miss game, that was probably one of those. We started off like throwing a pick six, and had to come back, but we were so good and so dominant on defense. It was just like, even though we threw a pick six, it was like, fuck, that sucks. That was a bad start, but we still feel really good. Like the 2003 LSU defense felt like we had 13 guys on the fucking field at all times, all year long. And it was like, I've never felt like that ever since. Even like the 2011 team never felt like that. Like, we were so much better than any other offense that we played. We lost to Florida that year, and I can't believe we fucking lost to them. But
I just realized, I said, you said 13 guys on the field. I said that Derek Dooley defense. And then I realized that Derek Dooley was actually on that staff.
Exactly. Dude, that staff. The staff was just, if you ever seen that picture, it's like, I mean, it's just fucking loaded with guys. I mean,
in the history of sports.
It's unbelievable. I mean, so we're going to talk about this in a second, but the Mount Rushmore of LSU, and so some people, I know you had started with saying Skip Bertman, Jack, and like I said no coaches, and I had a couple other people on Twitter say Skip Bertman, you should do Skip Bertman on there, and I'm saying no, it's only players only, and I told this to you, Charlie, it was like, if I would have had if I would have allowed coaches on there, fucking Nick Saban's going to be on that fucking list.
Yeah.
Like, you know what he did for us? Oh my God, he's it. So anyway, we'll
Brought us out of mediocrity.
we'll get back there. We'll get back to that at this point. But what's some other Ole Miss games that you can remember? Because Jack, I know you have a few of them that are like near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, I always the first two I always think of are, I mean, obviously 2014 was fun and I was there and all that, but it gets talked about so much that you almost don't even have to mention it.
Mhm.
Fournette running wild is kind of the same way. Everybody mentions that every chance they get. But 2010 and 2012 like never get talked about, I feel like, and they were both like two of the best games I've ever seen. And like, and they kind of run together in my head because they were such similar games, just like super high scoring.
Yeah.
I think 2010 it was like 43-36.
Yeah, that was the quarterback that transferred from Oregon to
Um,
Ole Miss, and I forgot his name. Can you hear
Jeremiah,
me?
do you know
Jeremiah Masoli. Yeah,
Jeremiah?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I remember that game. The 2012 game is the one where Odell took the punt return,
yeah,
correct?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do just like awesome games. Like, and it was both of them were like LSU was top 10, almost not ranked, and
Mhm.
just like didn't matter. It was going to be a good game, and you kind of felt like it was going to be a good game before it started.
All right, so Ole Miss, that back in that time, like right when you're talking about, they were so up and down.
Yeah,
And it was they were just coming off the Ed Ogeron, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, they
That
were
was
coming off of Ed Ogeron.
Yeah.
2010
2010,
Houston nut.
2010 is the year that we no 2011 when we were really good.
We
We beat
barely-
them 59-0, and that was when we
Kneeled with 5 minutes left.
yeah 52-3. Sorry, yeah we no it's we get all the way to the 1
yeah.
and we kneel
It
like
was a it was a
over and over and over.
Zach Mettenberger 25-yard fucking bootleg.
Yes,
Love that man.
They'll let Zach Mettenberger run for 25 yards without being touched.
the still
No ACLs.
the meme of like just the photo of us kneeling at the 1
With
with the
5 minutes left.
score at the bottom.
Oh,
We got to post that tomorrow. Now that you
so
write that
it's
down,
what?
Jack.
I thought we already posted it.
I don't think we posted that yet.
Maybe somebody else did.
Well, we posted it last year.
Yeah, we've posted it before.
Too. So
Okay.
That's a great one.
take a drink.
2014 was the Bo Wallace game, right?
Yeah, that was the 10-7 game, right?
Yeah.
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 I was kind of telling Matt that's one of my favorite ones just because like I had a lot of like so I have family that's gone to Ole Miss, but I just remember like I'm sitting at home watching the game with my mom and she like it was the same reaction that it was almost identical to her reaction to Peyton Manning not shaking Drew Brees' hand after the Super Bowl. It was almost that exact same reaction. She was pissed. It was just like there's no class. This dude, he's just being an ass. He's making an ass out of himself. It's no way. This is one of the greatest games we'll ever play in. He's just being a dick. I was like, yeah, that was a little bit exaggerated, but that was basically
he got completely like taken out from the crowd. Like
Oh, yeah.
they got in his head so bad, and he was so mad, and like that was I've never seen another player like get
Disappear.
rattled that bad.
Well, we've had a couple guys do that against Alabama.
Guy lined up under the guard. Who was that? What year was that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
It was before I was alive, I think. Matt, you don't
I don't remember. I don't
doesn't
know.
matter. I mean, that 2014 game was fun. That 2014 team, like, such a bizarre, like, start of the year horrible.
Oh yeah,
Defense,
real bad.
defense wasn't good. Offense wasn't good,
Yeah.
and offense actually never got good. But that defense just made a complete turnaround. Like halfway through that year, you know, you held Ole Miss, great offense, to 7 points.
Mhm.
Held Alabama, and who had a really good offense that year. Blake Sims was like, that offense
Wild.
was stupid good.
Yeah,
held
Lane Kiffin did that.
and oh yeah, Lane Kiffin was there. That's right.
Lane Kiffin turned a fucking running back into like an all SEC quarterback.
Yeah. No, I mean, same shit, like,
Future AAF player.
Right.
that offense was crazy good. Held them to 13 points.
Yeah.
You would have beat Arkansas the next week if we didn't score 0 points that week. But I don't want to talk
Well,
about
so the
Thanksgiving games, baby.
well, you're talking about the defense. I remember the 2013 defense. It's so maddening because our offense was just like clicking. I mean, you had Odell and Jarvis and Zach Mettenberger, and they're opening it up and they're throwing the ball over the place. Our defense was so young that year, but you had guys like Jalen Mills and Jalen Collins. Like they were just freshmen though. Like they just were so young, and it was like 2014. They're starting to come back a little bit and get back into
the
that.
first thing I always think of with that defense in 2013 is just that like DJ Welter was the starting linebacker.
Yeah.
And, like, against CJ Welter, but just like not the level of athlete that we're used to.
Was that Kendall Beckwith's freshman year though?
I think
so.
Because that was the main argument was like get fucking DJ Welter off the field, put Kendall Beckwith
so that was
middle linebacker.
That was 2014. That was that turnaround at the midseason that I'm talking about.
Yes, when they did it,
put in Kendall Beckwith. And
they were playing him at defensive end for a while, and it was like, what are we doing, bro? This is like the best linebacker, on the field. Not even close.
Right.
Harold Perkins.
Yeah, basically, it's a lot like that. Like, get this guy on the field. What are we doing? You can't let Tennessee out scheme you to where you can't put one of your best defensive players on the field. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I was telling somebody this today. I was like, look, the next 2 weeks is where like this week, next week, and then like this week and next week, teach him how to play inside linebacker against Alabama. Because last week and this week are going to be his best games because it's a run-heavy offense with blocking tight ends where he's going to be able to QB spy, right? That's what he does. He did it great against Mississippi State. He did it great against Florida. He had a really good game, and he had a freaking strip sack taken away from him because of some bullshit tuck rule.
Fucking awesome play.
He's the most athletic player we have on the field at linebacker as a freshman at 225 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, we talked about it a few weeks ago. He's better than Devin White was at this point in his career. And like this is like a freak show. These guys a freak show.
I knew that he plays special teams. He plays a lot of special teams, punt coverage and kickoff.
Yeah.
At the Florida State game, I saw 40 and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be fucking good." And then the first kickoff, he knocked that dude out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he turned him over because the dude tried to jump over his blocker, and you were just like, "Oh shit, okay."
Yeah.
No,
and those are the kind of guys that it's so weird to think about this. Those are the kind of guys that A&M's got like stacked on their roster this year, and they still suck. Like it's unbelievable. Like
so
they have
bad, dude.
Huh?
They're so bad. It's hilarious.
They're really bad. Like that is so crazy that they have. They're fucking loaded. They got Jacoby Matthews. They got all these guys on their.
Speaking of A&M, let's go into a little theoretics here. A little
theology.
My bad. Like theoreticals. Like
okay, yeah.
Can you see LSU like? What does a 9-3 LSU look like at the end of the season? You know what I mean?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
So for me, it's like, do you see them being like a top 12 team at 9-3? Because I can. If you keep it close versus an Alabama and a loss, I think that's probably like your highest rated 3-loss team.
We're at 9-3. We're borderline New Year's 6. Like
that. Yeah, I was saying that. I was like, you're probably going to get like a Orange Bowl, maybe. No,
probably not that because
Citrus, something like that.
Citrus Bowl. That's what I was thinking of. Citrus Bowl.
You're in the SEC alone. You're still going to have Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia all ahead of you.
Yeah.
So at 4th in the SEC, you probably get the Citrus Bowl.
So isn't that crazy though? We're talking about that. Like, all right, so if we beat Ole Miss, which was like, okay, a couple weeks ago, we were all like, oh, there's no fucking way we're beating Ole Miss. But like the turnaround that we just had, where
we're fucking
and like, yeah, we're favored. Like, all right, so can we talk about that? Like, it comes out on Monday. We're a 2.5 underdog?
3.5, right? It's 3, 2.5, 3.
By the end of the day, we're a 1.5 favorite. Like, That is Vegas.
Wait,
What's
let me tell you
But at the
something.
end of the day, we were 1.5. I think now we're like 2 right now.
Right, I think.
But it's like that tells you Vegas is like, oh no, this is a better matchup than you think.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, gives me all the confidence in the world. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's
So
great.
I get to work on Monday. I'm working at lunch. Another guy comes in. So he starts working. He goes, dude, 2.5 point, 3 point underdog today. I was like, all right, cool. Or for Saturday, I'm like, I take that shit.
Yeah.
And we come back from doing something at work. He sits down and he checks the spread. He goes, we're a 0.5 point favorite right now. I'm like, what? He goes, I was like, didn't you tell me like an hour ago we were a 2.5 point favorite? He's like, yeah. I was like, shit.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it just nuts to me that that's where we are. And now coming off of this win, and we talked about it last week, like how fucking big of a game is this, like for the program? But like,
Yeah.
obviously, coming off of this win, now we start thinking, okay, expectations is. I mean, Vegas says if Vegas says we're beating Ole Miss, I'm pretty sure Vegas also has us favored over obviously UAB, Arkansas, and Texas A&M.
They don't have
Yeah.
over
I don't
Arkansas.
know.
They actually have the ESPN usually doesn't like show you the line until the week of the game.
For sure, but I'm thinking when it gets to the week of the game, we would be
Right
favored.
now, it's showing the Alabama spread and the Arkansas spread. It has Alabama -17 right now, and Arkansas -1.
-1. So I think by the time we get to that game, I think they beat the shit out of BYU, which is BYU.
They're
But
looking better now that KJ Jefferson's healthy. That Arkansas is still a really good team, and I think now that if they, that's a scary thing too. If they do get healthy, I think it's on they have like 4 DBs out right now.
mhm.
Those DBs do get healthy. I think they're right back to being where I thought at the beginning of the season. I thought they were a top 15 team for sure.
Yeah, right.
Healthy, I think they're that good. So
All right, so let's move on a little bit. I know we didn't talk about Alabama, Tennessee. What a fucking game that was.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
That was a big question I asked for a lot of people that didn't. I knew that didn't go, or that were watching it on TV. Did you change, or if you didn't have multiple TVs? Because Jack, I know y'all have Hangy and y'all have Bookie and y'all have a couple of them.
So
And you have what?
we have silly.
Silly, Hangy, and Bookie.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised you know all of
I
our.
I'm well aware of the TV names. Yes, the
Hey,
nicknames
you
in the
are
house.
my roommates, so they're
So,
podcast hosts.
did you change the channel to the
With,
LSU game from
yeah,
from the Alabama Tennessee game?
I'll tell you what we were doing. We had all 3 TVs on all day, obviously. On Hangy, we
Yeah,
had Hangy's the one that is hung.
Hangy's the main television. Yes,
Well, it's like a 60-inch TV. Not to brag.
MBD.
The subtle brag. We had that TV on the Bama game all day.
Mhm.
By the time LSU was about to kick off, we switched the Bama game to silly, which is in
Okay.
the winter still.
Okay.
We switched Hangy back to the LSU game. And it got a little confusing at points because we Hangy's the only one with the volume on, right? So you kind of just you're watching the LSU game and then you forget that the Bama game's even going on.
Right.
I looked over like last second as Bama was kicking a field goal to try to take the lead, and I was like, "Oh shit! Everybody look!" And then we watched them miss, and then we forgot again, and we saw Tennessee lining up to kick a game winner. Yeah, and then obviously they made it. So.
Wait, can I talk about that real quick? Because I'm watching it at my best friend's house. We had 2 TVs. We had both TVs working. The outside one was on Bama, Tennessee, and the inside one was LSU, Florida. So
Like,
Tennessee, yeah. Well, I was looking at it through the window, and then I went outside to watch the
Windy.
Bama game at the end.
You're gonna call that one windy now.
Yeah. So
how do you
we're watching
Audi.
the game. We're watching the game, and Tennessee rushes the field, and it cuts to a field camera, and there is this girl just staring down the camera, and me and somebody else at the thing just out loud both go, "Oh shit, she's about to flash the camera."
She did?
She did not, but because
Okay.
it cut away immediately after we said that, I'm
Yeah.
almost positive she did, but we just didn't see it.
Well, then there's the other girl that was jumping
There was
so
the other girl
hard
that
that
jumped
her
out of her dress.
her boob was coming out.
for her.
All right, so yeah, no, props, but yeah, that game was fantastic. I know we didn't talk too much about that one, but I wanted to move on a little bit to the our Twitter post today that a lot of people were. Everybody always has opinions on these, which are great, but like it's always like I don't know the LSU Mount Rushmore of players. Okay, and I can hear a lot of arguments, but like if you don't tell me okay exactly who you're taking off and who you're adding, I'm not listening to you. Like you're a fucking idiot. Like you got to tell me who you want, who's your four, and if your four is stupid, I'm gonna rip you to shreds. But like I think we had a good like
I think we had good picks.
we had
I
good
thought
deliberation of it too. Like we had there's some guys on there. So our if anybody didn't know, we have Pete Maravich, Shaq, Joe Burrow, and then the last one was Tyrant Matthew.
Yeah, I don't think you could say with our list. Obviously, Tyran's gonna draw attention because he didn't
for sure.
finish his career. But like, it's hard to say that we're like just definitively wrong about it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
Here's my and I'm gonna give you because I added Tyrant. That was my pick, and the reason why I pick him is, we are a football school. We're dominated by football. This is the second best player we've ever had at LSU, and
Easily.
he's iconic. He was like polarizing. He also, after he was kicked off the team, did everything in his power, and he still does, to be like an LSU like supporter, an alumnus. Like he gives money back. Everybody knows what his face looks like which is something that I was actually having an argument with somebody at work. They tried to say, "What about Bob Pettit?" And I'm like, "Bob Pettit? You can't pick Bob Pettit out of a fucking lineup. Like Bob Pettit. Like I understand what he did." But I know we had other ones that we were talking about.
2-time MVP,
2-time, yeah.
11-time All First Team.
I get it.
Today,
I mean, there were still bounce passes were like a big deal back then.
NBA champion. Well, I mean, like but if you're gonna go there, Pete Maravich like is so good because he like, and then no, I get it. He scored 44 points a game. I get all that, but like he's so good because he like invented the through the leg dribble
For sure.
which is like just shows you like how bad basketball was at that time as well.
All right, so Will had something to say about this. Like, if you even if you wanted to take the whole transitive, like, okay, this guy playing in this era now, like Billy Cannon's going to get broken up if he tried to run a play right now.
Line.
Pete Maravich could still score.
Right. Yeah. What? Yeah. True. And like, okay,
even
like,
if you wanted to use that,
everything pre desegregation is like, I'm with you. That's got to not count. Although it gets weird with baseball because like you got to still count Babe Ruth and things like that in those kind of arguments.
Yeah.
But we don't have baseball.
You played in a completely different era. Even basketball at some point. I know that was '69 whenever he was there, but like even Kentucky didn't have black players on their team yet. Like it was stuff like that happening all over the place, especially in the South. But like, yeah, Billy Cannon played in '59. I mean, Ole Miss didn't have a guy on their team that was a black guy, like from fucking Mississippi. Like, yeah, I understand, and it's nothing to take away with the legend of Billy Cannon coming on Ole Miss week. Obviously, it's a big deal, but like, and I understand he's got a statue, all these things. He won the Heisman Trophy, but like, if you're talking about actual like best players ever and icons all at the same time, like you can't win an argument with me telling me Billy Cannon over Tyrann Mathieu.
Same thing with Billy Cannon. I couldn't pick Billy Cannon out of a lineup. I've seen him when he was 20.
Well, I could, yeah. But I think you would want you would want him in uniform and things like that. If you just take his fucking face and plant it somewhere, like you're gonna see Tyrann Mathieu and you're gonna know that's the Honey Badger.
So for Tyrann Mathieu, I think I took him off of mine just because I was like, I want to throw a baseball player in here because, I mean, shit, Ben McDonald, Todd Walker, Like Kevin Gosman, we've had plenty of guys.
You lost me at Kevin Gosman. Go ahead.
I'm not saying he's on there, but I'm saying we've had plenty of great baseball players.
All right,
I
so
felt
let's
McDonald's
talk about
further.
baseball. Let's talk about baseball because
It's either Ben McDonald or Eddie Furness, and that's the end of the list for baseball.
I don't think it's even Eddie. Like you're talking to like I mean I grew up in this fucking era and I fucking love LSU baseball because of Gorilla Ball and all that. But like even Ben McDonald, we've had Ben McDonald on the podcast. Like Ben McDonald was the number one pick of the draft. They didn't win the championship whenever he was there. That was kind of we were still up and coming with Skip Bertman.
Right.
I mean, guys that I could talk about. Ben McDonald to me is going to have to be on the top of a baseball list. But then you're going to have guys like Todd Walker is definitely on top of that list. Guess what? Todd Walker only won one championship.
So just for argument's sake here, why
Alex Bregman? I mean,
does
that's another one.
not get to be on because his team didn't win a championship, but Tyrann Mathieu never won a championship either, and he's on the list.
No, I get it. Yeah, no, I think that's great. So if you're gonna talk about okay, who are we gonna replace Tyrann Mathieu on that list? To me, the only options are Ben McDonald and maybe Simone Augustus.
Right. Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
and that's only because you're trying to be fair to the other sports. But when I talk about guys like Tyrann Mathieu and the attention and notoriety and marketing and dollars that he just completely brought to your school is not even fucking close.
LSU marketed Tyrann Mathieu even after they took him off the team.
Absolutely.
They were selling Tyrann Mathieu number 7 jerseys well into like a year and a half after he was gone, right? Like,
but also just notoriety and knowing who this person is. Like Todd Walker. Like I know who Todd Walker is. He was a legend when I was growing up. But like
because I like LSU.
Do that many people like if Todd Walker walked into fucking Fred's, like are people gonna know who Todd Walker is? If Tyrann Mathieu walked into Fred's, like that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's just fucking legends. Like you know what I mean?
The sorority girl test. If you put Todd Walker in front of a sorority girl nowadays, she wouldn't know. But Tyrann Mathieu, I guarantee you, if they even know anything about LSU football, they knew anything about just football in general. They knew who Tyrann Mathieu is.
All right, now we're talking about a good Fred's test. Okay, so like
if we're going down this road, no one's gonna know who Pete Maravich is.
I can see that. But I think there's other. Yeah, no. I think that's
on the list.
But we're talking about one like parameter where there's other parameters, which is like, okay, this guy he's the fucking record holder of all time and will never be touched, and is a top 50 basketball player of all time in the history of the sport. Like, I mean, he's NBA top 50. Like, all right, Out the Box podcast. Love those guys. See them all the time. They commented on our tweet, and they said that I think that we need to add a few more people. Simone Augustus needs to be on there, and what I would do is I would take Tyrann Mathieu off, and I think he said add Billy Cannon, or no, take Tyrann Mathieu off and add Ben McDonald.
Yeah,
but his other one, which I fucking lost it, take Shaq off and add Simone Augustus.
How you can take Shaq off makes
what are we talking about?
That's my same. It's my
Shaquille
same
O'Neal
test.
Right.
Shaq. Like he's the number one alumnus of all time of almost any school. Like everybody knows who Shaq is. Like,
I'm trying to think of one school who Shaq wouldn't replace their number one alumnus.
And I don't remember where he fell on like the top 50 of all time NBA basketball players, but he's like literally one of the best players in the
North
sports
Carolina
history.
Right.
Like,
well, no. I'm just trying to think of like popularity wise, other than like just because of Jordan's, like would Shaq replace Jordan at North Carolina kind of thing?
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I was just saying
Michael
like,
Jordan's. Michael Jordan's on a different level. But like as far as like, okay, he's still out there. He's still on commercials. Everybody knows who Shaq is. Like, yes, he's the number one alumnus in our school.
I don't think there's even a single football player who like
Shaq can touch Shaq.
Any football player.
Because Joe Burrow doesn't come close. Everybody loves Joe Burrow. He doesn't come close to Shaq. and maybe one day he might.
If Joe Burrow wins a couple Super Bowls,
Maybe one day he might, but not right now. Not even
but
close.
but I don't see Joe Burrow being like the TV personality that Shaq is.
No.
I think that's
No.
like the biggest part of what makes Shaq so marketable.
And
It's just-
Shaq still talks about LSU. I mean, this is so far removed.
Comes to friends all the time.
Yeah,
DJ Shaq.
Exactly.
exactly.
like-
It's just unbelievable that,
He's a doctor.
like, all right, much love to baseball and to women's basketball.
It's just not.
But they just can't get on this. It's 4 fucking players, like 4 people. How are you going to take off Shaq and Pete Maravich, who are just like, to me, like, these are like all-time legends of the sport in general.
Right.
It's not just LSU; it's just in general. Like, this all right. Let me back up. This all came from an Auburn tweet today because Auburn posted their Mount Rushmore, and theirs had 3 people on there that you would think of: Bo Jackson, Frank Thomas, and Charles Barkley were on the 3.
Yeah.
Then for their 4th, they added, and I don't even know who this person was because they didn't say their name. I think it was a women's basketball player, and that was the 4th person. And Auburn Twitter is like up in arms because they didn't put Cam Newton on the list. Like, to me, it was so easy. Bo Jackson, Cam Newton, Frank Thomas, and Charles Barkley are the 4 guys. And they were trying to be, it was probably politically correct. They're adding a female on there, which fine, but it's not a Mount Rushmore, right? Like, I get it, but like, I love Simone Augustus. I think Simone Augustus is one of the best women's basketball players of all time. But like, I mean, it's Tyrann Mathieu. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
He almost won the fucking Heisman Trophy as a defensive player. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I asked this earlier. I don't think anyone responded in the group chat, or at least I didn't check. Would Mondo Duplantis count then?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah.
He's the greatest pole vaulter in the history of the world.
So he's the best in his sport. That's one criteria, obviously, that needs to be on there, right?
Best.
Yeah.
Correct. But
No
I mean, do
marketability.
people know who he? Yeah. Do people know who he is? Like,
Right. No, that's the question. I would recognize him, no doubt.
for sure. And
I would too.
I think we would
He
probably
looks
recognize
exactly like his brother.
I think you'd probably recognize Antoine before you recognize Mondo.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, Antoine's pretty well known.
Yeah.
Alex Bregman, to me, if you want to go recency bias, that might be one guy who, because he's tearing it up in the pros, but he was unbelievable in college. I don't know.
But just
you know what would be a good one is to do a Mount Rushmore of current LSU players.
Split it up.
oh,
No, we might just do Mount Rushmores for a long time. It'd be pardon my take all over
Yeah,
again.
do an entire summer of them.
We're just gonna steal their shit.
Bustin was doing
Mount
that.
Rushmore of coaches, LSU coaches.
Skip, Nick.
Nick.
Um,
Brown?
No.
Yeah.
Gymnastics coach.
DD Bro.
DD. She's got to be up there.
Gotta be up there. I hate
I
when people
feel
say
like
she's gotta be up there.
that's
Like,
Texas, but it's just
come
not
on.
moving the
Yeah,
needle
let's go. Come on. Let's
Like, to be a misogynist or anything, but it's just not doing it for me.
you should
Gotta
see
throw in
Facebook
here.
right now. Facebook's on fire. They're just like, why is no Billy Cannon on there? Like, yeah, and I don't want to tell them they're racist, but all right, so let's get to LSU Ole Miss scores.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we got to
Yeah.
do that.
Totally forgot.
I post mine today. What do y'all got?
Go ahead, Charlie.
I was actually gonna see if you would answer first because I'm thinking, but give me 45-37.
45-37 LSU, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. I can see. I can see it. Maybe.
But the way both defenses are playing and LSU's offense, hopefully they're
do you
we're
think-
doing something similar?
Do you think Ole Miss's defense is better than Florida's?
Yeah, I think they're a lot more balanced of a defense.
Are they?
I think this is his best defense he's had at Ole Miss so far too.
It's a great
By
question.
far, long
No,
and
it's a
far.
great question.
Oh, dude, their defense last year was fine.
I thought their defense was good last year. They had that linebacker in the middle, and I think he shored everything up for them.
I don't see their defense doing that much good this year. I mean, they had a good game against Kentucky, But last week against Auburn, Auburn's offense is awful. They scored 34 points. They ran for over 300 yards. They had no idea what to do with Robbie Ashford, which is like Robbie Ashford's not a good quarterback. So,
No.
Well,
Vanderbilt,
hey, we didn't do great against Robbie Ashford.
we did a hell of a lot better than Ole Miss did.
Oh, Ole Miss got ripped up by Robbie Rashford.
I mean, Tank Bigsby and Jacquez Hunter also had great days.
Well, and Auburn didn't score in the second half on us.
That's also true. Yeah, I think Auburn averaged like 8 yards a carry or something like that for the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm stalling because I'm trying to figure out what my score is. I think this score sounds so wild, but it's just like it's the score I come to when I try to like do the football math in my head.
Yeah.
Shoot 48-45.
48-45.
I just don't see how either team, because I mean, I have faith in our defense, but I don't see how we're going to get that many stops. I don't think it's a great matchup for us with when I'm questionable about our DB play.
I see. I'm still worried about them just going to get. I know. Nobody's really done that to us, but I just feel like Ole Miss can gash us up the middle.
Well, that's what I'm worried about because I don't think we have a good enough DBs to like stack the box.
Yeah.
So I think that they're either going to be able to run the ball all day, or we're going to get beat over the top. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell we're even going to do on.
You guys score points.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day,
ton of fucking points.
That would be the Courtesy Automotive Group keys to the game. Score a lot of points.
Yes. I mean, take the over. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. What is the over under? Did we
66.5?
66.5? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think all of ours are going to crush it. All right, so mine is
first pick I can't fade.
Yeah, mine is
my first pick you can't fade.
LSU 35, Ole Miss 31. And it's still covered. Well, no.
It doesn't cover the total. It's 66.
Oh, it's just under. Oh my god. Yeah, I didn't mean that on purpose, but yeah, I'm just thinking of like, okay, if we're gonna win this game, I think that's gonna have to be how it is. Like, we can get some turnovers, maybe we can
over under
hold
68.
them. 68. So I definitely lost. Okay, but I have some confidence going off of the Florida game, offensively. Defensively, I can see them kind of getting into us a little bit, but I'm hoping at home it makes a difference. I know that didn't really matter against Tennessee, but this isn't Tennessee that we're playing this week. But yeah. I'm just if they're able to gash us up the middle, all bets are off. Like they'll win by a touchdown, or if not more.
Let me edit my pick so that we can all fade it.
Jack, what were you saying? What were you saying, Jack?
I don't that. I mean, because I'm expecting them to gash us up the middle, and I'm still picking the score the way that I have it. I think that they'll get to like 200 to 250 yards rushing, but I think that their defense isn't capable of getting stops. And this is all assuming that last week wasn't like just a one week kind of thing. If the offense, actually continues to progress, which it looks like it will, and Kayshawn's, back, and just Jaden's slinging that rock confidently, I don't think they're going to be able to get stops, and I think we'll be able to get scores when we want. And I think our defense will be able to get one or two, like, key crucial stops. I think that's going to be the difference.
I think that and maybe turnover. We haven't gotten any turnovers really this year. It didn't feel like. So.
Something big about Ole Miss is Jackson Dart's only been sacked 3 times this year.
Yeah, because they take so much fucking pressure off your pass rush with these zone reads. Yeah, it's brilliant.
If you can get home to them and if you can cause turnovers, I do think that Ole Miss is going to have to play from behind a lot.
Yeah.
Which I think, again, just favors us.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Let me edit my pick.
Edit. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
LSU 35, Ole Miss 21.
35-21.
Yeah. Fuck Ole Miss.
That is a huge edit.
Yeah. I mean,
Leonard
we're under 68.
Leonard Fournette's running over guys again all over the place.
Wait, hang on.
35-21.
35-28. There you go. 35-28.
Jesus Christ, Charlie. All right.
We're still.
That's enough.
Still fade. I'm done.
All right. 35-20. Are you gonna remember that tomorrow when I text you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so you're gonna go with that one, or you're gonna go option C?
Well, so like
Jesus
we've done it a
Christ.
couple different times where I have a different one on the podcast, a different one in the text,
Okay.
right? Because in the text, it's always that's the one that we fade, right? That's the one because
Yes.
that's the one you post. So I
Okay.
think on here, I'm still going like 45, 37 or 38 or whatever, but text tomorrow it's going to be 35, 28.
This
My
is
score is
unbelievable.
going to change on my text tomorrow, by the way, because
It's
I
not going to.
know it is.
It
Because
is.
I came up with that,
Y'all are
I
ridiculous.
came up with that spur of the moment just now.
Okay.
We're
I'll
still
allow it. That's
6-0
fine.
when I
I'll
when we
allow it.
fade. So
We'll get our scores accumulated in the
release
calculations
tomorrow.
and all that. Yeah, we'll post those. All right. Couple of our sponsors we need to talk about. Bocock Brothers Cigars. They will be at Fred's. I haven't talked to him yet, but I know he's going to be at Fred's. He's going to come hang out with us, and we have a couple of boxes on the way, I believe, as well. So appreciate those guys. BocockBrothers.com. Go check them out. They're at Churchill's, Havana Port, and at Cigar Den in Baton Rouge. So there's a few places you can go get these locally, or you can go on their website and you can order anything online as well. So we appreciate Doug and the guys over at Bocock Brothers Cigars, big LSU fans. So also, we mentioned them earlier, Brandon Lejean over at Courtesy Automotive Group and Courtesy Buick GMC. Brandon has been a huge supporter of the podcast. You can call him. You see him there, 337-224-1867, courtesyautomotive.com. Also, go check him out on Facebook. Brandon Lejean, you see his name right there. If you ever message him on Facebook, or if you want to send him a text like it right there on the screen, you can do that. And he can hook you up with a car if you're looking for something in particular. You can find it, search for it, all that kind of stuff for you too. So appreciate those guys. All right, so
Courtesy's been with us for over 2 years now.
they have. They were the OG sponsor.
How about that?
I know. So we appreciate those guys. We were talking about gumbo. It's gumbo weather. Brandon just made a gumbo. He posted it a little while ago. He commented with me on it because I want a thick roux. Give me a thick, dark roux.
I want
Don't
my
come at
roux
me with this fucking light roux shit.
blind ruse.
Yes. Nah, screw that. I want rich. I want it to look like pudding. And then you add all your juices and all that kind of shit. So anyway, just my 2 cents. Okay, so we'll wrap it up. Hopefully it's a great week for us. We'll have a good time at Fred's. Y'all come meet us up at Fred's. Be a huge party on Saturday morning.
Doing interviews.
Go ahead.
If you're one of those people who you don't know where you're going to go tailgate and you kind of just bounce around, go to
Yes.
Fred's.
Oh, it's gonna be. This is the week. This is the week for that for
Gonna
sure.
be huge.
It's gonna be huge.
And go to Fred's after the game after we win.
That's
Yeah.
right. We'll do it back and forth. All right. So for Charlie on the keys, and you got Jackie over here. It has been One T1 Podcast.
Logging out.
That was so forceful.
It's back to my roots.